There's an exciting new moon in Aquarius on Saturday, January 21st. It makes a harmonious sextile to Jupiter in Aries and calls us to be socially conscious, cooperative, and open-minded as we follow our goals and move towards a better future. Find out more and let's break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in predictive, natal, and relationship readings. If you'd like to work with me, you can always book the reading at the link down below. I am currently offering $23 off my 2023 readings, and you can buy a recorded reading even cheaper than that. So check that out. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave me a like or a comment. I really appreciate that, and welcome if you are a new subscriber. Before I dive in, also wanted to let you know that if you'd like a personal horoscope for February, or if you'd like to get horoscopes on a regular from me, you can subscribe and become a subscriber on my website. So there's a plan that you can join. Additionally, last year, I have started creating candles and oils that have planetary magic properties. They were created at the most benevolent times, and they carry properties of the transits that they were created during. So I have Venus items that are helpful with love, beauty, and art. I have Jupiter and Pisces candles and oils, and Jupiter will not return to Pisces until 2033. There's only a few of them left. All of these are limited edition, limited quantities remaining, because as you know, astrology is changing all the time and no 2 days are the same. So take advantage of them. They can be really helpful if you're struggling with, Jupiter optimism, Venus love and relationships, and Mercury communication, clarity, and, self-expression or writing. So the new moon always means new beginnings. Think of planting a seed in the dark, fertile soil. So here's the soil is Aquarian, right? So it's very rational, curious, intellectual, future-oriented, socially minded, and kind of very strong, opinionated soil, right? So you are working on personal things, but you're also being likely very aware of what kind of impact your work has on other people. And this could be one of the themes of this new moon is, what can you change in your everyday life to connect you with the collective? Because it's a very Aquarian year we're living in, or even Aquarian period, right? Like Saturn is still in Aquarius. As soon as Saturn exit Aquarius and goes into Pisces, Pluto goes into Aquarius. So all of this is new, but it's also like something that will unravel over the course of the long time. New moons represent new beginnings that usually flourish and bloom 6 months after the new moon. So the seeds you plant right now, the projects you start, you may not see the results until July, August of this year. So this new moon happens at 1 degree 32 minutes of Aquarius on Saturday, January 21st at 3:53 p.m. Eastern time. And it will affect all of us, but especially strongly if you have any planets or angles, your descendant, ascendant, midheaven, or IC in 0, 1, 2, 3 degrees of Aquarius. I'm excited about this new moon. New moons always bring new beginnings, right? So that's exciting. But this one also sextiles Jupiter in Aries. Not only it sextiles Jupiter, but it sextiles Jupiter in the Mars-ruled sign after Mars has already gone direct and after Mercury has gone direct. So we have more authority and more ability to act, right? I feel like there's a better word that I'm looking for, but it's not coming to me. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance and growth and good luck. So the things you start right now, the projects you start, the relationships you start, the collaborations you begin are likely to be lucky and successful. Jupiter in Aries is very much about courage And this new moon is actually also making a trine to Mars. It's kind of a wider trine, but it's still there. So we have the courage, we have the energy. We potentially have, with the Aquarian energy, we have the know-how, we have the secrets, or we're looking for them. We're ready to break away from the convention and try things that are completely different for us. Like, you know, if you're someone who was like, I never ever want to have children, and now you're like, oh, maybe I will. So that's one example. But you can also see examples professionally, you know, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever it might be. So it's a good time to take risks that will likely pay off in the future. There is a good blend with Jupiter in Aries and the new moon in Aquarius of the individual free will and the collective good. So you are taking action, and maybe there is a personal motivation behind it, but you are thinking about others, right? Like maybe you're starting a candle making business, but your candles are all natural and you're using recycled bottles to kind of use as your containers. I actually know an Aquarius who did that, so it's like an actual real life example. You have more clarity. You have more, you know, like Aquarius is to me somewhat connected to like Prometheus, and I've talked about this before on this channel, but Prometheus was this rebel and innovator, and he didn't care about the rules of the gods. He was the Titan in Greco-Roman myth. He stole fire from the gods. He brought it down to Earth. So for people on Earth, he was a hero, but for gods, he was a villain. So every Aquarius has a bit of that energy of like, you know, being isolated, being misunderstood, but being also kind of heroic. And through being heroic and helping others, you find more of a sense of belonging, even though we all walk alone. I don't think that. I think we are, you know, we are social, but there's definitely an element of Aquarius in every single one of us, right? And once you dive into astrology and you look at the chart and you see that we all have 12 signs somewhere in our chart, so somewhere in your life you are very Aquarian. So expect the move towards freedom, the move towards like you are going to be very rational, you are going to be more interested in new ideas, inventive, unique, fun things. Great time to be more altruistic, great time to put like a small stone in the pyramid of the success of the humanity. Yeah, like just you know, a good time to think of like, how does your work benefit other people, and maybe kind of donate some money or do some kind of positive work, even if it means that you like help your grandparents, right? Like do something that will help other people and will make them feel more supported and understood. So let's break it down for 12 signs and see what this might be bringing you. For Aries rising, we have a new moon in the 11th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 1st. So here you are starting something new in the collective. Maybe you're starting something new on social media or starting a professional group project, expanding your network. But with the Jupiter in the 1st, I feel like it's about you leading the way. It's about you being the source of change. So maybe you get your friends together and you start an exercise group. Maybe you become head of the volunteer company or something, or you start a charity, or you start to be more involved with, you know, helping other people, becoming somewhat like more involved with political matters. Sometimes can be seen here. Political, social activism, anything that involves other people and lets you maybe be like in charge or lets you shine is a good thing. I'm also thinking with, you know, you may be making changes to your life and showing up as more of an initiative. This new moon in the 11th could also be about finding new people to connect with, like finding people who, as you change, as you're changing and growing, you're looking for people who are representative of the progress that you have made. So changes to your networks, changes to your group associations and to your social status are possible here. For Taurus rising, we have a new moon in the 10th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 12th. And I feel like for Taurus risings, maybe in the next 6 months, you will be finding like there's new professional beginnings, but it's also likely that you have to let something go. With Jupiter in the 12th house, right? Like maybe you are letting go of your place of living. Maybe you're letting go of needing to fit the expectations of others. Maybe you are, Jupiter in the 12th could also bring more spiritual and healing aspect to your career, where you start the type of work that maybe deals with astrology, with intuitive type of work, with tarot, anything like that. So definitely some kind of new professional beginnings. Maybe you start to teach astrology, maybe you form, like some kind of business that is healing or more spiritual, but definitely professional new beginnings. I just think that maybe for some of you, you first need to like release your fears, you need to release an old job, you need to release an unhealthy tendency and maybe take that leap. So this could be about that, but definitely professional changes that benefit other people, because we are talking about Aquarius new moon here. For Gemini rising, there's a new moon in the 9th house and it's sextiling Jupiter in the 11th. Could you be starting school? Could you be writing and publishing your work? And give it some time. It's like, it's the seed that will take about 6 months or even longer to fully bloom. But in the 6 months or like few months from now, you will see the results of it. But I can see Gemini risings embracing, kind of taking on a different role that maybe has more influence, or maybe taking on a role that deals with teaching, learning, traveling, publishing, being a lawyer, even because 9th house deals with legal matters. And because it's Aquarius, because it sextiles Jupiter in the 11th, you're either working with your friends and maybe your friends are becoming your support network or the source of opportunities. Or the ultimate goal here, I think, is how can you use your knowledge to help the world? How can you use your knowledge to help others, to connect with others, and to become a guide for them? For Cancer rising, there's a new moon in the 8th house and it sextiles Jupiter in the 10th. New moon in the 8th means new beginnings when it comes to debts, taxes, paying off debts, getting loans, getting a mortgage, starting a collaboration with other people. The sextile with Jupiter feels to me like this is very much professionally oriented. If there was an aspect, let's say, to your house of romance or to your house of home and family, I would think that you're getting a mortgage to get, a home. But here it feels more about financial changes that are happening that lead to professional growth and professional new beginnings. Maybe you're freeing yourself from a contractual obligation. Maybe you're freeing yourself from a relationship that has been holding you back, or you're selling stocks if you have any, and you are finding more freedom. You kind of, whatever you do, even if it means like 8th house sometimes deals with healing and transforming wounds or transforming fears. So transforming the fear or transforming a relationship is also likely something that will bring more freedom. So like I said, could be financial transformation, could be more psychological, deep emotional changes that lead to you having more ability to pursue your dreams. More avenue, I think. I think avenue works here. For Leo rising, there's a new moon in the 7th, sextiling Jupiter in the 9th. And immediately it's like, are you starting a relationship with someone foreign? Are you going on a trip and you're meeting someone and you're like thinking of how can you bring this relationship to a different level? New moon in the 7th definitely brings new beginnings to relationships. If you are single and not interested in dating, this could be about your partnerships, about your marriage, quote unquote. You may have that with your son, you may have that with your mom. It's so interesting as an astrologer, you look at people's charts and sometimes they have the moon in their 7th house, and I've definitely had moments when I was like, do you think your relationship with your mom is like marriage? And they would be like, oh yeah, if you ask me, kind of like that. So so definitely new beginnings when it comes to important relationships in your life. The sextile to Jupiter in the ninth makes me feel like the relationship involves travel, it involves education, writing. So you can be starting a new relationship with a new writing partner, or traveling to meet your romantic partner, or maybe even beginning some kind of legal undertaking with a new partner. Your partner can also be going through a change in their life, and maybe they are going to school, or they're traveling, or they're experiencing some kind of important milestone. For Virgo rising, there's a new moon in the 6th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 8th. And here you are transforming your immediate environment. You may be making changes to your health, to your diet, and your exercise routine. Maybe you're pregnant and you need to be more mindful about how you move around, right? Like, because maybe you were like getting close to the date. But this would be like a very small amount of Virgo risings, I think, right? Like, or a smaller amount of Virgo risings. But there might also be just like with the sextile to Jupiter in the 8th house, and you potentially starting some kind of new partnership, or taking on a loan, or going through some kind of psychological transformation, maybe starting therapy. Your immediate environment, your daily life, and your work relationships might be changing. So with this new moon in the 6th house, it is your opportunity to rearrange your day, to kind of take better care of your health, to start exercising, to implement physical changes so that mentally you can be at a better place. For Libra rising, there's a new moon in the 5th house, and it sextiles Jupiter in the 7th. For Libra risings, this is very romantic potentially. If you are in a relationship and there's a new moon in your 5th house, you may be birthing something. It's a mouse, it's a rat. I live in New York. Forgive my terrible immediate analogies. It's a squirrel, it's a rabbit. You're birthing something. But maybe maybe you're getting pregnant because it's a new moon in the 5th house, and it's aspecting Jupiter in the house of relationships. So you're connecting the place of like new beginnings and childbirth to the house of relationships. You may be starting a creative partnership. It's not all about birthing actual beings into the world, or mice. It could also be about, I hope nobody watching this video will birth some mice. There's a fairy tale in Russia that goes like the empress birthed. It wasn't clear whether it was like a boy or a girl, and wasn't clear what it was, but she did give birth. So anyways, as a Libra rising myself, I need to be careful too. So new beginnings when it comes to relationships, new relationship coming into your life, more play coming into your life, some kind of partnership, or more fun. Maybe you're going on dates. And like I said, if you're single, this could be about just trying to find more fun in your life, and going dancing, going swimming, if that's something what you like to do. Starting to write, right? Like coming up with a new creative idea, but then being very like socially minded about it, right? Like Aquarian energy. So maybe the project you're starting is a creative project, but it deals with like, I don't know, gathering plastic bottles and making art out of plastic bottles. For Scorpio rising, we have a new moon in the 4th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 6th house. New moon in the 4th brings new beginnings to home and family. Moving in with someone, changes to your living situation. Maybe, you get new roommates, maybe a family member moves in. Maybe a parent goes through some kind of change, like maybe they moved to Florida or something, and you once used to live close with them, and now you have to build a new dynamic. The sextile to Jupiter to me feels very supportive. It feels like you are starting It could be very literally like you're starting home improvement project, you're moving in somewhere, moving somewhere new, and you feel like it will take you some time to make this place homey and comfortable and to feel like home. Could be connected to work, like maybe you're setting a home office at your place as well. Maybe you are coming up with a plan to pay off a mortgage, or handling some kind of responsibilities when it comes to home and family. For Sagittarius rising, we have a new moon in the 3rd house, sextiling Jupiter in the 5th. This could be romantic because there is a sextile to Jupiter in the 5th. New moon in the 3rd marks a change to your schedule and your everyday life. And there is a sextile to Jupiter in the 5th house, so if you are getting pregnant, having a child, recently had a child, the new moon in the 3rd will be a sign that you need to readjust your everyday life to fit that change. Both of these houses are very much connected to creativity and self-expression, and 3rd house deals with having a business. So I can also see for some of you starting a business, or like starting to do something more creative, like opening space in your schedule for a creative thing. In the 3rd house, you may also need to like invest into some technology. You might need to pass some exams or buy a car, or, like readjust your commute in order to fit more fun, or in order to fit a romantic relationship that is represented by Jupiter in the 5th house. Maybe you're learning something. Maybe you're taking a class in pottery or something. Dating and meeting someone in your neighborhood, I can also see, or getting more involved with your neighbors and your immediate environment, kind of taking on more prominent role. And 3rd house deals with communication and writing and blogging sometimes. So maybe you're also starting a blog, or starting an Instagram page or a YouTube channel. For Capricorn rising, we have a new moon in the 2nd house, sextiling Jupiter in the 4th. There are new beginnings when it comes to your finances, and somehow these new beginnings are connected to home, your place of living, your physical house, it could be connected to real estate, to land that you own, to family. And maybe you are setting some money aside, right? With the new moon in the 2nd house, you can be very much like starting to save for a home, for something big. You may be spending some money on the home. You may be getting money from the family, or you're getting money from a family member's resource, right? Like a family member had a house, they passed away, and you get some of that, or you get some of the dividends from selling that house. You may be getting a pay raise. You may be switching your job to working from home. I can see that as a possibility also. But definitely new beginnings in finances, different way of dealing with money, different way of valuing yourself. You may also feel like there's a sense of like taking on a new project that maybe is somehow like socially minded and green energy involving somehow, right? Like that you want to pioneer, and your sense of self-worth, I think, should increase as well. For Aqua rising, this is a new moon in the 1st house, always exciting. It's sextiles Jupiter in the 3rd, and I feel like Aqua risings are taking their skills and their knowledge and their communication gifts and turning them into a new venture, a new project, right? Like you may be finding a new job, you may be establishing yourself as a new role within the old community, right? Like you used to be a teacher and now you become like the consultant, right? Could be about starting a business, could be about, but I feel like there's just more of a sense that you feel proud and you feel ready to take everything you've learned and make something out of it. Jupiter in the 3rd, for some of you, will definitely see you starting a business or starting a major project that involves communication and networking with other people. And the moon in the 1st house is very much about like, who am I? You get one of the new moons every year, right? And like Pluto is going to go into your 1st house in a little bit this year too. So it's a major inception of something new for you, lovely Aqua risings. And for Pisces rising, we have a new moon in the 12th house, sextiling Jupiter in the 2nd. And I'm thinking, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to say goodbye to build a better financial and secure foundations for yourself, right? The sextile to Jupiter implies that you are focusing on making money, right? Like you're focusing on making money, but you want to be careful that you're not just prioritizing money making and forgetting about a more spiritual side of you. And as a Pisces rising, you are very, sensitive and caring and altruistic in a lot of ways. So with the new moon in the 12th house, you first need to review, I think, your motivation behind things, like make sure that you're not blinded by just like greed, for example, or fears for the future. But also, like, if you are having these plans, right? If you are, new moon in the 12th can also be like a sign that you're taking on a new job that's more spiritual. And if you do have a plan, and if you have like a vision and you're trying to get your business off the ground, with the new moon in the 12th house, it tells me that, like, first, it's likely that you need to look at what you're telling yourself. Look at what you're telling yourself. Look at the habits you have. Look at self-defeating tendencies you have, and start by changing it. Start by like reprogramming yourself, and maybe saying positive affirmations, maybe, writing a gratitude list of 5 things at the end of the day of everything that you're thankful for. Communicating more honestly and being more kind of like more in charge, I think, of what you tell yourself, what you surround yourself with. And maybe finding a way to like give back to the community, right? Like focusing on helping other people who are going through tough times so that you can make money through that. Like you don't focus on all the things that you're worrying about, but instead you're focusing on helping others. And that's a foolproof way, I think, of feeling good about yourself. This is it. This was a fun video to make. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.